Okay, good morning and welcome to our webinar on NAHAD's Hose Safety Institute. My name is Debbie Mitchell and I manage the standards program for NAHAD, which includes working with the Standards Committee, the Hose Safety Institute, the Hose Assembly Guidelines, and all the related programs. If you would, please take a moment to indicate if you have more than one person with you. We like to track our numbers. And just a reminder that everyone is on mute to minimize background noise. However, if you have questions, if you'll notice in the lower left-hand corner of your screen is a place, there's a chat box. So if you have questions, please enter them there and I will get to them as I go through the presentation. We also have plenty of time at the end for additional questions. Okay. So my goal today is to give those of you who are Hose Safety Institute members some insights on how to better leverage the resources available to you and to clarify what membership is all about for those of you still on the fence. If you have questions as we go, please enter them in the chat box, which I just referred to in the lower left corner of your screen. The session is also being recorded and should be posted on the NAHAD website at some point, so you can always go back and refer to it there. I am always available for questions as well, either by phone or email, and I'll have my contact information at the end of the presentation, but I'm usually pretty easy to get a hold of. All right. These are the foundational goals of all of these programs. It boils down to supporting the quality, safety, and reliability of hose assemblies through better employee training, as well as marketing to raise awareness of the issues and importance of doing things the right way. So we focus on these things to help create marketing advantage for you, our members. Bottom line is these goals primarily focus on end users and customers, but they can apply to you as well. And enabling these are what we focus on in our programs and deliverables. This is really the practical application of Institute programs. If we're not doing these things, then the program doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So we include a lot of these in our materials as well. So how does the Institute help to do that? Bottom line, having everyone on the same page is always a benefit for a business, particularly if it's around best practices. And the Hose Assembly Guidelines are exactly that, best practices for the design, specification, and fabrication of hose assemblies. So having things documented, having processes documented, having clear expectations for how things work, how things ought to be done, that's a key focus for the program. We have a number of members that have been using our guidelines and the programs for a number of different things. Training and recognition is probably the biggest piece of what members use it for, but they also use it for safety procedures and manuals, quality assurance, marketing, and credibility with customers. So it's up to you to figure out where the guidelines and these programs will provide the best support for your business, but these are the areas where we chiefly focus, and I'll go into detail on them as we go through this session. But first, let's take a quick step back and look at the foundation for all of these programs, which are the NAHAD Hose Assembly Guidelines. These are performance standards as noted here, and these have been worked on since the early 90s. They really represent best practices and an industry consensus around best practices that were pulled together over a number of years and refined. So what exactly are they and why should you care? So I think industry consensus best practices is key. Industry consensus means it's not just you telling your customer the right way to do things. It's the industry as represented by NAHAD that's doing the talking. And best practices obviously represent a lot of industry experience, what works, what doesn't, and what practices end up generating the safest, most reliable, highest quality hose assemblies, which is obviously what we're after. So where do we find all of these? The Institute Handbook is the key piece of all of this. We published version 1, got a lot of feedback, cleaned up a bunch of stuff, added a bunch of stuff, and we're now at version 2. This is a 3-ring binder, which gives us the flexibility of posting pages with minor updates on the Institute website for members to download and add to their handbook. We had so many changes as we moved from version 1 to 2 that it was easier to create an update pack, which provides the same high-quality pages you have in the handbook itself. So we have chapters, as you can see in the handbook, on all 5 of the major hose groups, as well as generic chapters on testing, shipping and handling, quality, and a number of other things. There are a lot of resources that are included in this document. It's a great document to have. It's supplemented by fabrication guides. So the handbook focuses on design and specification of hose assemblies and is augmented by 5 fabrication guides, 1 for each hose group. These are all posted on the Institute website and available for free download to Institute members only. So for those that haven't used or seen them before, I thought it might be useful to include a look at some of the things that are actually included in these fabrication guides. So this is a sample from the one for industrial hose. This is the table of contents. These guides are intended to pull a variety of resources together in one place that should be useful to fabricators and include step-by-step instructions for things like cutting hose, fabricating the assembly, as well as providing tools like conversion charts. It's just handy. As you can see, industrial hose has a number of applicable fabrication processes, and we've included all of these in the Fab Guide itself. So let's take a look at one of them. This is crimping. So crimping for industrial hose, we start off with a listing of excuse me, which industrial hoses crimping would typically be used for, which are the typical fittings, and then any special tools required. We then get into specifics around fabrication procedures. What we've done is this is the guts of the actual fabrication process. And note that although there's a lot of detail here, this is still the relatively generic part of the process. We recognize that different manufacturers have specific recommendations on crimp specs, etc., and we don't intend to include that in our documentation. That's up to you working with your suppliers. But it is great to have everything sort of pulled together in one place. It's a great learning document as well. So the handbook and the fabrication guides are the foundation, providing lots of great resources for you or your employees. And as I said at the beginning, having everyone on the same page is a great value to the business. Predictability and consistency, both in terms of your own internal processes as well as what the customer sees. We also have white papers. The Institute has a group of end users with a vested interest in hose safety in their industry that we call the Advisory Council. We pick topics that are hot in their various industries, and those in particular that are impacted by hose assemblies, and then we write a white paper defining the issues and providing recommendations for how best to manage their hose assemblies. We make these available for free to anyone who wants to download a copy from the Institute website, our goal being to maximize visibility with customers and end users. We have 2 posted so far, hydroblast and vacuum hose, with a third which will be posted later this summer on hose design factors. So here's a quick look at what these white papers can address. So looking at the one we did for vacuum hose white paper, we talked about liquid vacuum services, and the bottom line is we're arguing that safety may increase costs up front, but the cost savings down the road in avoiding accidents and environmental spills is well worth it. So those in the industry have noted that hose management policy and procedures vary across a lot of service providers and that no common industry standards exist for liquid vacuum hose, particularly related to inspection, testing, service life, or common definition of terms. And that's exactly what this white paper is trying to address. So again, for this vacuum hose white paper, this is what the table of contents looks like. And as you can see, much of the focus is on in-service issues, how to manage your hose assemblies to minimize the potential for accidents. These are great resources for you to use in working with your customer and demonstrating the Institute's commitment to best practices for hose safety in particular, and the types of resources you as a member have access to. So as I said earlier, we had a lot of resources that we try and make available to members. One of these is a company quality program template. So if your company is thinking about adding or updating a company quality program, there are a number of sections which you can lift or customize directly from the handbook. This is a list of suggested components for a quality program. Those sections in red are already covered by the handbook. This is nothing that's required by the Hose Safety Institute, but hopefully provides some food for thought and an additional resource for members to use. Again, the biggest use, I think, of the programs is around training, so employee development and recognition. We have 10 exams that are available and are introducing an app later this year which will also support employee productivity. So of the 10 exams, 5 of them focus on the handbook, one for each of the 5 hose groups, industrial, hydraulic, etc. And then we also have 5 fabrication exams, one for each of the 5 fabrication guides. The exams are available for Institute members only, and once you complete an exam and pass it, you get a certificate of completion, which is good for 3 years. Exams are $69 for one exam. You can buy a pack of 5 for $295, which works out to $59 each, or a pack of 10 for $490, which works out to $49 each. Once you buy these exams, they are good indefinitely until I assign an access code and password. Each test has a separate access code and password for the individual that it's assigned to. And once those codes are assigned, they are good for 6 months. Exams are multiple choice, open book. We don't want to test people on memorizing all of this material. We really want to test them on how well they can find that information. Each of the tests is 2 hours long. That are online tests. There are about 60 to 75 questions for each test, and the passing scores are about 90%. So when you complete your exam, you will get notified of what your score is, but you don't know whether that's a passing score or not until I confirm that. But as I said, most of the passing scores are right around 90%. The exam program is limited to members only, as are the Fab Guides, and membership also gives you access to the best pricing for the handbooks. Handbooks for members are $199. For NAHAD members, they're $399, and for non-NAHAD members, they are $599. And actually, we've had a number of non-NAHAD members purchase them, so they are getting out there in the industry, which is great. Up to you how you leverage the testing program for employee recognition, but we also recognize everyone who passes an exam in the NAHAD news. So we also try and focus on providing additional benefits around marketing for members. And marketing benefits vary depending on how strong your marketing already is. We work to increase visibility for members in the industry via the Institute website and things like articles in business publications. And we also provide you with logos and a certificate of membership that you can display and use. We also put together marketing tools for you to leverage. The intent is to provide the basics that you can then download and customize to meet your needs. So this is a copy of what the annual certificate of membership looks like. And you'll notice that it includes which hose groups you are recognized in as well. In this case, industrial and hydraulic hose. Recognition is gained by completing the appropriate tests for that hose group. You are also recognized on the Institute website. There is a member search capability there that customers can actually go to and look for the Hose Safety Institute member closest to them geographically or working in a particular market. So these are some of the tools, the marketing deliverables that we have posted on the website that are available for members to use, and to hopefully give you some new ideas for marketing strategies as well. And if you have ideas for additional resources that would be useful, just let me know and we'll pull them together. So these are tools that are designed to help you drive your business. So presentations, brochures, order forms, a number of things along those lines. Flyers in particular are things that you can download and customize to work with your customers. This is a list of some of the flyers we have posted on the website. They are intended to be both marketing and educational flyers to help your customers better understand what quality, safety, and reliability really stand for. Here's what they should expect from a quality supplier. So as a sample of one of those, here's what the trifold or marketing flyer looks like. Obviously, there are two sides to it. This is the first side and gives generic information about what the Hose Safety Institute is all about and why you would want to do business with somebody who is an Institute member. On the flip side is additional information that you can customize, put in your own logo, whatever company information and contact information you want there. And when it's done, you fold it, and it's a great handout. It looks very professional. A lot of people have had them printed professionally as well. So up to you how you want to use it. Again, these tools are provided as a way just to get you thinking and a head start on some of the marketing aspects. We're also trying to push broader visibility in the market and to drive, we are looking always to find ways to drive that visibility for the Institute. So business journal articles, visibility at trade shows, work with an advisory council, all of these are important. The council is made up of safety managers and those in end user industries with a vested interest in safety. So we work with them to identify the hot issues, and then as I noted before, we provide white papers to address those. We're always open to suggestions for either topics or other ideas that you may have for driving visibility, and particularly letting me know which business journals out there like BIC Magazine or Hose and Coupling World, etc. If there are others that you work with or your customers see a lot of, let us know what those are so that we can start to work with them, again, to drive visibility out there in the market. We're also open to adding to the advisory council. If you have some key end users that would be interested, just let me know. Okay, so if you haven't joined yet, just go to the NAHAD website and click on Hose Safety Institute and then join. And everything is spelled out, as well as the application form, which is right there. We give you a 6-month grace period to get exams completed to meet the membership requirements, which I'll go over in just a minute. So when you first join, it's $300 per location per year. You're required to have one copy of the handbook per location and complete one handbook exam and one fabrication exam for each hose group in which you do business, but you choose which those hose groups are. And then you confirm that your location meets the membership requirements. So those are the basic requirements. These are the membership requirements specifically for distributors. Again, all of this is on the website, but I wanted to give you the listing of what is basically entailed. So as we said before, we really want to make sure you have a copy of the handbook and that you can access the fabrication guides. You need to be able to conduct the appropriate testing of the finished assembly as specified in the guidelines. Want to make sure you are calibrating your testing equipment properly. And we want you to have a company quality manual of some sort that looks at quality for your company. You need to have at least one person on staff who has completed at least one handbook exam and one fabrication exam for each hose assembly group in which you do business. And we hope that you manage your inventory properly and utilize hose tagging or identification methods in conformance with what we spell out in the handbook. Manufacturers are also encouraged to join. They have many of the same requirements if they fabricate hose assemblies, but we also want them to make sure that they have the handbook and the fabrication guides on hand and have completed the exams. All right. That is basically it. What can I answer? Any questions, please enter them into the chat box in the lower left corner. As I said at the beginning, I'm always available by phone or by email. I'm happy to answer questions, walk you through the process, help with suggestions. Do we have any questions today? No? All right. Well, thank you all very much for joining. I hope this has been a good overview of what the Hose Safety Institute is all about and the value of the program. And thank you so much for your time and good selling. Bye-bye.